Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Amritapuri 2022 regional round. And the contest has already begun. It's been over an hour now, and we already have several submissions made across all of the problems in today's set. Uh, so, as you can see here, we already have over 100 submissions on three of our easiest problems today, which are B, G, and K. And the other on the other ones, we already have submissions from a few teams. So let's take a look at the scoreboard quickly. Um, so right now we have audit pass from IIT Delhi at the top with the time penalty of 1 hour and 13 minutes. Uh, Eurozuya Forever from IIT Madras with four problems. They are less than 6 minutes away in terms of time penalty, so it's a tough competition between the two. Uh, Continuing the tradition for IIT Kanpur is Faceless Men 3.0 with four problems again, but they're slightly far behind in terms of time penalty here. And we have several other teams on four problems now. Um, yeah. So let's see how this goes. Feel free to cheer for your team in the comment section if it's active already. We'll be inviting various problem setters from today's set to discuss each of the problems so that you get a better idea of the solutions behind these problems. And yeah, we'll be talking about some of those and about ICPC in general. I can quickly just go over the easiest problem of the set, which is final over. Uh, so you have a cricket match going on, and there is a team that is currently batting that requires X runs in the final over. And you have a string S that represents what happened in the first five balls in that over. So you want to figure out if that team will win the match in the last ball of the over or not. And on in the last ball, the player can either score 0 runs or at max 6 runs. So if this team can win, you need to print yes, otherwise you need to print no, all in uppercase. And the inputs are pretty small. So you just need to iterate over the string and find out how far you are from reaching your target and whether you can reach this target within 0 to 6 runs in the last ball. So that's about it. This is supposed to be the easiest problem in the set. So we can see that 111 teams have solved this problem today. I think we'll get a count of total number of teams participating today in a bit. Um, so yeah, this is supposed to be the easiest problem in the set. And afterwards, we'll also tell you about who made the first correct submission on each of these problems. Meanwhile, I'll open up the second easiest problem on the screen and you can try to solve it. Maybe post your ideas in the comments and we'll be back in 5 minutes. Okay, so let's go over the second easiest problem in the set. It is called max median, and the question says that you have an array of length n, and let S be the set of medians of all possible subarrays. Let's say A of I to j, and you need to find the max of S. So you might know what a median is. So let's say you have some array 2, 6, 1, 2, 3. If you sort this array, what is the middle element in this array? Um, and so on. So out here, max essentially means what is the smallest number that does not belong to that set. So, for example, for 1, 2, the max is 0. For 0, 1, 3, the max is 2. And for 0, 1, 2, 3, the max is 4. Because these are respectively the smallest numbers that are not part of that set. So you have some test cases, and for each test, you have an array for which you want to find out the max of all possible subarray medians out here. So an important observation out here is that you will have every element as the median of some subarray. Hence, you will have all array elements as medians. Hence, you just need to find the max of the entire array. So let's say that you just pick all values that are all unique values that are present in the array and put those in a set. Then you can just find out what is the smallest value that does not occur in this set. So yeah, that's about it. It's supposed to be the second easiest problem in the set, and we can see that yeah, it has 109 submissions now, which is kind of expected. Let us know if you have any questions about max median or if you'd like to know something else. We are seeing some activity now at the top of the scoreboard. We have the top three teams on 5 problems now. So I believe Audit Pass has solved Knockout Miracles last, and we have Eurozoya Forever solving Rectangle Intersection, and same for Logic Crushes. Both of these teams have last solved Rectangle Intersection. We'll talk about this problem later on. Let us know what team you're supporting in the comment section, and we'll let you know what problems they are trying to solve right now or any other updates uh, from the contest. We also have Aryan from the problem setting panel, who is with us. I don't know if he'll be able to chat now as he's on site. Um, but yeah, we'll be talking to several other problem setters in our team about the problem set and about their ICPC experience in the past or about problem setting and so on. So stay tuned and let us know if you have any questions for our problem setters or other judges. So Aryan says that he can discuss the LIS solution. So yeah, what he means to say is that we have this problem called longest strictly increasing sequence. And yeah, we'll just wait for a bit, let folks try it out for some time and then get back to this problem. And Aryan can talk about it. You can also see on the side, we have a short uh, small thumbnail showing a live video from the site. Let me just try to figure out how I can pin this to the screen. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, because of the resolution, I think you can only see a small part out here. Um, but you can see some balloons near every team. So every time you solve a problem correctly, you get a new balloon. This is part of the ICPC culture and happens across regionals as well as in the World Finals. Uh, so a little background about the competition format. You have teams of 3 individuals and everyone gets access to only one computer. So you have one monitor and one keyboard and mouse per team. You don't have uh, one machine for every member in the team. So you need to strategically decide who is going to code a particular solution first, who is going to think on other problems, and there is considerable strategy involved here to decide what problems to target as well. So yeah. uh, we'll be freezing the scoreboard in the last 1 hour of the contest to maintain some suspense about who ends up being the winner in the contest, and we'll be releasing the results uh, post hoc. So let's see what happens until the end of the 4th hour. And yeah, I think it should be an exciting contest. Let's just quickly check out the scoreboard once again to see if any of the top teams have solved more problems. Okay, so looks like audit pass have a wrong answer on minimal increasing graph. So that's one of the harder problems in the contest. Could be interesting if they can AC it early on in the contest. Some other top 10 teams are also trying out this problem. I think that's the interesting part about this problem, that it seems like a simple problem because the statement is kind of short and easy to consume, but the solution may not be that straightforward. So let's see if any other teams also follow this trend and try to solve this problem. So we have at least one AC on several problems now. Um, we have 8 ACs so far from the entire set. So I guess the top team should be able to solve at least 8 problems pretty quickly, possibly in the next uh, 30 minutes or so. We are already 1.5 hours into the contest, and some of the harder problems in the set are yet to be solved correctly. So, Aryan, would you like to go over your problem now?
Yes, sure, Raman. So, hello everyone. So, let's read the problem statement one. In the problem, you are given an array B of size n, and you have to find one array such that for each prefix of A, the length of longest strictly increasing sequence is equal to Bi. And I will first talk about my motivation for the problem since I am the author of it. Like we were looking for some cakewalk problems, and I suggested that max median one and longest strictly increasing sequence one. The idea is the problems are a bit easier and they just have one observation, but I found them cool. In this particular case, the observation is that if you just take B and find its corresponding, you can just take A equal to B, and then for each prefix, you can find what's the length of longest strictly increasing sequence for that prefix. And if that array matches for B again, then we can just take it. Like there are other solutions as well. Like for example, with checks that if AI minus 1 is equal to AI, then you can just put 1 or 0 for the ith place. And you can always have longest increasing sequence as 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and all. And the reason why I like this problem was it's more like just take input and print the output. Like print input would have worked if we have just told that all the arrays have correct answer only. Like in case of yes, that's the correct. But if there would have been the concern like there always exists an array for which this bi exists, then one could have just printed the input and they would have gotten AC over it. And like this problem is also solvable for n equal to 1 e5 and all. But I just since it was a cakewalk problem, I just kept n equal to 10 and bi less than equal to 10, so that even if people do not observe this, they can just brute force in and get an AC on it. And looking at the initial solutions, I don't think anyone has noticed that printing A equal to B would have gotten AC on it. Like people are mostly going with B, the solution like print one if the array does not increases.
Okay.
So
Can you describe some incorrect ideas, maybe if you've seen some of the
like
WS sections?
yeah, when we were discussing it internally, like people even after observing that A equal to B worked, they missed out some of the cases where the answer should be no. Like
Yes.
the first thing is adjacent difference should be at max one.
Mhm.
It comes from the fact like if you look at the algorithm for finding longest strictly increasing sequence, you will notice that the last element you can have the for one prefix you have some longest strictly sequence you can add at most. If you add the new element to that sequence, then your LIS increases by one. Otherwise like someone missed out on checking the difference is at max one. And some people, if even they have checked it, they missed out on the fact that the LIS of just first number would be one. Like they should also check that first element should be one. So
I
these
see.
were some of the incorrect solutions.
Got it. How many ACs are you expecting on this problem? Do you think everyone participating will be able to solve
I guess by now everyone has solved it, right?
it? Okay. We
So
can quickly take a look. And yeah, looks like almost everyone has solved it.
yeah, right.
Maybe just a handful of teams that are left. Nice.
So yeah, like same reasoning goes for max median as well.
Mhm.
Like the problem asks you to find something fancy, but like this, I am also the author for this problem. And when we were discussing for Cakewalk, I came up with this one. Like the idea is, if you look at it, you need around n square possible such subarrays, and then you have to find the max of them. But if you notice the fact that if you only take length one sequences, then you can get all the numbers which are present in A. And for the all the arrays of size greater than one as well, there would be one element. The median would always be one of the elements present in array, because we are going with the definition that to take the seal n by 2 element, Like some of the medians also allow like taking the median of average of the middlemost two elements, but we are not going ahead with that definition over here. So the solution over here is mostly just take the input array and find the median of it.
Got it. Yeah, I think this problem is also pretty straightforward. I think problems like these allow some of the teams that are participating for the first time to gain
Right.
some confidence, I guess, and just to smoothen out the gradient a little bit in the earlier set of problems.
Like the
So,
idea ICPC's philosophy is everyone should solve at least one problem, but no one should solve all problems. So
yeah,
yeah, we do have like the ones like by providing three cake problems, people can go home with at least three balloons. Everyone can take one with them. So yeah,
yes, everyone deserves a balloon.
right.
All right. Thanks, Aryan, for describing your solution ideas and for preparing these problems. Aryan also prepared problems for us as part of the online round, uh, from which these teams have been selected. They are likely the top teams or among the top few teams in their college, and they are here competing to represent India at the ICPC World Finals. Um,
Like
okay, so
probably okay, one we can fetch the name of members and probably we can discuss about them if you know. Like
sure.
for example, some tidbits about audit pass. Like in the last World Finals, HOS they were the first team to not qualify for the World Finals. So this time they have really high hopes. And since the World Finals is combined, most of the teams who beat them in the last World in the last regionals and Asia West won't be participating in this contest. And as we can see right now, it's the first team in the scoreboard, which was expected from them.
Right, who are the members of Audit Pass this year?
I don't know about everyone, but one of them goes by Code Forces Handel Magda,
Okay,
and he's a grandmaster for around an year or so at least.
okay,
And same goes for Yoruza Forever. Like IIT Madras in the last World Finals and in the last Asia West and this regionals are having a tough competition among themselves. Last year, IIT Madras had two teams in the Asia West. Team number second, three of a kind, which are participating today as well, and one ninth team at rank 9 as well. And the rank 9 did not qualify for the World Finals because ICPC allows only one team from a college in the World Finals.
I
Like
see.
there are six teams which who perform worse than them, but they ended up losing the World Final slot to three of a kind. And today for Euroza Forever, they have to be among the top teams and they have to also beat three of a kind.
Right.
Or probably, I guess, with Asia West, the regional winner qualifies for it, and then people have to just other slot just goes to Asia West. Or in case
Right.
of
For
Asia
Asia
West,
West, there's no issue with multiple colleges, right? Like multiple teams from the same college. I think it's post Asia West where
right? So Eurozone forever have to beat three of a kind in Asia West if they want to have their shot at the World
I
Finals.
see. I see.
is there any clarity on what happens if, since the World Finals is combined, is there any clarity on what happens if
Like I
one
am only
team
aware of one Code Forces block which shared the description of what happens if a person qualifies from two different teams in the combined World Finals.
they
Like
have to
they
choose?
okay, they said that the team members in the first World Finals will get replaced by any eligible participant from the college. So,
Interesting.
so I am not really sure how it's going to work out when both the teams are exactly same. Like
Right.
had it been one or two member, they might have asked for the replacement. Like we will have to wait for the developments. What
Wait for
happens
it. Yeah.
when teams gets announced? So let's see there.
I think the only slightly interesting thing here is that, like, outside of the four questions that, B, C, G, and K that most of the top teams have solved, the fifth problem that people are solving is relatively unique. You have some people going for A. I
Right,
think only Audit Pass has solved A till now. You have
right.
three teams, you know, approaching D. Four teams, I think. Yeah, four teams have solved D, and
D.
uh, 2-3 teams have solved H, and I think
Okay,
that's someone at L, right?
L, which problem is L?
Yes, L is finding the best
Find
possible
the
partners.
well,
And yet, for some reason, everyone seems to be,
trying I.
attempting I. Yeah,
Like, what is I?
yeah. Can you open I? It
I
feels
is
like
minimal increasing.
Right.
who set minimal increasing graph?
So I
Yeah.
think the idea
It
was
was
by
by Weber Boson idea,
Okay.
and the initial solution we had was wrong, and we realized it when we were creating test cases for it and stress tested it. Then Jatin came up with a solution which passed within the given constraint. And
Hmm.
initially we were planning it to be D1B, but in the end our rating for it was D1D. So that might be the case that like this problem looks a bit easier to have one solution which looks correct. But
Uh-huh.
even in our case, like we realized that our proposed solution is wrong only 3 days before the contest. So
Yep.
that
Yep.
explains why different teams are trying it and getting a W on it.
Yeah.
And one fun fact, I was just talking to Weber Gosen today about this problem, and so he came up with his initial solution idea and had already prepared some test cases, but only while writing the samples, he came up with some sample coincidentally where he realized that his original solution was actually incorrect, and then we had to figure out the right idea and so on.
And one more, no, okay, that was the other problem. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, this explains, and we probably know. I know one more tidbit about the top teams.
Mhm. Sure.
Like
One sec. Let me just go back to the scoreboard.
so, the team number 4 is Paradigm Shift,
Mhm.
and I have met one of the participant in 2019 regionals in here Bangalore as well. Like they were participating in ICPC for schools back then, and they won that. And I that's Niskas Luthra. And one more tidbit about his is his older brother represented IIT Roorkee 2 times in the World Finals.
Who was his older brother?
Abhishek Kahnar, I believe, but
His
I'm
elder brother is
yeah,
Sarj Luthra, and
Oh
Saharsh
yeah,
Luthra.
Saharsh,
Yeah,
yeah,
Saharsh
Sarj Luthra
Luthra,
was
uh,
his. He is his elder brother, and he was also Vaibhav Gosen's
teammate.
teammate for
Yeah.
teammate.
ICPC.
One of the problem setter we have today.
Yeah.
So this is their first year in the ICPC. Like they have 3 more, and like they
I
are
feel
giving tough
old.
competition in their first year as well. Like if you look at the online round scoreboard, they were among
Oh,
top 5 teams. So
Nice.
it might be the case that they can make it to the World Finals in their first year itself.
oh, that's actually quite rare. I think. Was there
Right?
anyone who qualified in the first year of college
Yeah,
last
like
year?
Rajat, they qualified
Rajat,
in
yeah,
his
Rajat
first year.
is like one batch before us,
Yeah,
but in recent memory, I feel like it's only been him who's qualified that early for World
right.
Finals.
Like Rajat, they represented India in IOI as well, and he
Yeah,
won some medals over there. Like he was red on CodeSurf even before joining college. And like
right.
when he was participating, we can even open his profile to show people around.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
So
Just give me
like
that.
if you yeah, like we can just look at it. Like. So in his first year, he was around 2600 on code forces. Nowadays, we have multiple people over there. Back then, that right,
Right. Back then, I think he was one of the few red coders from India.
right. So like 2017, 18 was probably the time when he was in his first year and represented India in ICPC World Finals.
Hmm.
Like Rajat, they skipped his second year, and in the
Mhm.
third year, he again participated and represented.
Yes, I think that Rajat's batch and folks after that who participated in IOI, I think all of them ended up doing pretty well, not just at IOI but also at ICPC, uh,
Hmm.
in whatever college they went to, I believe. I
Right,
think some of them went to NUS or NTU. Some of them went to some colleges in the US and so on. But I believe plenty of them have represented India at World Finals eventually, which kind of goes on to show that our IOI program has also strengthened over the years. We are seeing a lot of smart kids representing India, and getting medals, performing pretty well at IOI, and then also showing their talent as part of ICPC. So a little tidbit about Faceless Men from IIT Kanpur. So this name has been going on for a while now, and they have continued uh, assigning themselves this name over several years. The last time I participated in ICPC was back in 2015-16, and I think that was the time when they sort of started off using Faceless Men.
Yeah, it's
And
been,
Right.
I mean, from the name itself, you see it's 3.0. It's been used twice, I think.
So like the first time, the team which they had different names with Faceless Man in ICPC, Faceless Lad in Coach of Snackdown and all. Then we also have Siddhartha from Yashandani's team. Like people might know Yashandani. Like that team had Faceless Man 2.0 and they represented India in Russia World Finals. This time they have just taken Faceless Man 3.0 and now seniors are like either you make it to the World Finals or
Yeah, let's just hope they live up to the name, because
right.
the two times I think that people have taken part with the name, they've gone for the World Finals. So
Yeah.
hopefully they continue that.
let's just refresh the scoreboard and see what's happening.
Okay, so another team, yeah, Faceless Men just solved their fifth, I believe.
Yeah.
But due to penalties, I feel like they're slightly behind. So they solved
Which is
C.
the fifth problem?
They solved C.
It's
Yeah,
Knockout.
not-
oh, I am the author for this problem as well.
Would you like to discuss it now?
Yeah, we can keep it on hold for some time.
Okay. Yeah.
Like we
Let's
can at least discuss the problem statement over here.
Yeah, maybe that would be.
yeah,
And
let's
the
discuss the
tidbit
problem.
around here is the problem statement was the most difficult part for this problem for us to write. Like test cases and everything was ready beforehand. But even to get approval for this problem, I had to call people on a Zoom meet and explain them the problem over there. And they were like, story looks very natural to us, so let's use it. And the final statement was prepared by at least four peoples in the end. Like I had to pick two people before besides me and ask them to finish it, and you are not going anywhere. And yeah, I believe the statement in current form would be a bit easier to understand. Like the initial problem statement said nothing. Like people just knew, feel like there is a graph given which is rooted at 2n-1, and you have to find some values, something like.
Right.
Like probably Weber, you can discuss the story over here, and probably we can take discussing solution later.
Sure, sure. So we have a knockout cricket tournament. So there used to be actually a cricket knockout tournament back in the early 2000s, which has now kind of stopped. But yeah, let's imagine that we have such a tournament again, and you have n teams numbered from 1 to n, and the teams are numbered according to their strength. So the strongest team is numbered as 1, and the weakest is numbered as n. And there will be n-1 matches in the tournament, and each match is played between two teams. So if a team is the weaker team, if a team loses against their opponent, they are eliminated immediately. They don't participate in any further matches, and the last team that remains is declared as the winner. So let's say that you have some team that almost always beats the weaker team because they are stronger. Let's define a miracle as an event where the weaker team happens to beat the stronger team. So we will call this a miracle, for example. Now you have a rooted binary tree that represents this entire tournament. So you have some leaves that represent individual teams, and then you kind of construct a match between every pair of teams, right? So you have a binary tree that represents the entire tournament. So now for each node 1 to n, let's define the winner of node I to be the team I. And for each node I greater than n, with children nodes j and k, we play a match between j and k, and the winner of that match becomes the winner of node I. So as you can see, the winner would always be the root node of this binary tree. So what you need to find out is what is the minimum number of miracles that team I needs to be part of to win the tournament. So how many upsets would a team need to make in order to win this tournament? So that's the idea behind this. Uh, and the limits are 10 to the power 5 for n. So, and the sum of n over all test cases is 5v5. So you need to solve this in n log n or n log square, and possibly would also pass. I think Aryan would reveal that later on whether n log square n would pass or not. So yeah, let's see. And Aryan, would you like to go over the sample maybe, if that helps explain the problem better? I think Aryan is offline. So once he's back, I think
Yeah,
we can
sure.
just.
I can discuss the sample over here.
Okay, sure.
As you can see in the sample, the root node is 7 and the leaf nodes are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So for team 1 to win, they almost always beats everyone. So you don't have to do anything. And so that's why you need 0 miracles for team 1. And if you look at team 2, its first match is between the winner of match between 1 and 3.
Right.
So in case 1 wins, then 1 can also beat team 2. But in
Right.
case 3 wins in match against 1, then winning the tournament would be easier for them. So they need at least one
Mhm.
miracle, and we also know, like, if the miracle happens between 3 and 1, then 2 can win for sure. So that's why that's the minimum we need for team 2 to win. And for team 3, if you look at it, its first match is itself against 1 only. So they definitely need a miracle over there. So they need one miracle in their first match, and their second match would be against team 2. So they need a miracle over there as well.
Got
So they need at least 2 miracles, and they can go on and beat the 4. And
it.
if
Got
you
it.
look at team 4 has only one match, and it's almost always against like team 4 is the weakest team.
Mhm.
So for weakest team to win the tournament, they have to win all of their matches.
Right.
So that's why they need only one miracle.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Um.
Like inspiration for this problem was I was looking for some real life example where I can put it in a problem. Like so far, the problems which I have created were a bit artificial.
Mhm.
Like like they did not had any real life inspiration. And if you look at the initial problems I said, which are not for ICPC, they just goes on like this. Naira does not like random array for a birthday gift, but she got one. Then she asked Aryan what to do. He gave him this problem, and now formally and the problem sequence goes. Like if it's a tree problem, I replace that graph with tree. If it's an array problem, I replace it with array and whatever you want.
Got it. Yeah, I think this is a really interesting problem, and I would really encourage folks who are seeing the live stream from home to attempt this. I'll just paste the link to the problem in chat quickly, and you can visit the URL and try to solve the problem. You won't be able to submit it right now, but you can try it out at home and maybe paste your solution ideas in comments. All right, let's just review the problem set once again. So the easiest problems are still kind of in a similar state, but we are seeing some more activity on knockout miracles. We already have 24 ACs on this, so looks like a lot of teams are going to start attacking this one. And rectangle intersection is solved by 7 people, so we'll probably look at it next. While finding the best possible partners and make it 0 are still solved by only 1 person, one team. So okay.
Like the interesting thing about knockout miracle was initially when I came up with the problem, I had n equal to 10. Like if you look at, like, for example, if it's a complete height balance binary, then there exists n log n solution,
Right,
which is a bit more brute forceable.
right.
So I would like people to even try that as well. Like, like if one tries that first, then this might be a bit easier to solve.
Yeah, that's an interesting point actually. I think that solving these simpler instances of the problem, or actually coming up with these simpler instances of the problem, is super helpful in a contest, because it might lead you to figure out some observations that are crucial to solve the more generic variant.
Right. And generally in knockout tournaments, the graph is almost always height balanced. Like it never happens that you just give team like for the worst team to participate in just match, and if they manage to pull it over, they win the world cup.
Right.
That never happens in Vietnam.
Cool problem. Let's see. Do you have any predictions about how many teams will be able to solve it out of the entire
Like
set of teams?
we rated it as due to C initially.
Mhm.
So I am expecting at least half of the teams will solve it. And like if you look at it right now, 1/4 of the teams have solved.
Yeah.
So the teams after solving the first three problems, like almost always, everyone would be looking at knockout miracle, except for
Mhm.
the ones at top. Which the teams at top might be trying some other problems from the problem set or coding it up. And someone on the paper would be looking at knockout miracles and they would have a solution on paper with them. But since someone else is coding some of the other problems, they are just waiting for them to finish or get a W or print it for the
I don't know. I'd be more optimistic because that's like you effectively have the whole 100 minus 25 people just looking at C right now for another 3 hours. So I feel like more people will be able to knock it down over the course of 3 hours because you also don't see another easy problem that teams can naturally gravitate towards
Right.
post. Like if they're not like if some team is struggling with knockout miracles, there doesn't seem to be a really obvious problem
Like
to approach next.
that's the problem we have this problem set as well. Like there is no due to E. Due to E is probably D1 C. So
Mhm.
we like the problem here is we don't have a D1 A and D1 B over. So the gap is big between the initial problems and the harder problems. Like we have D1 E, D1 D and all. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, and our prediction is two of the problems will go unsolved in this contest.
Yeah.
So that's it. Like we just have four unsolved problems, right?
And I think there are plenty of problems like no enemy, make it zero, rectangle intersection, and maybe even knockout miracles that teams are going to solve in
Like it
succession.
looks
So
like
yeah.
we have a change at the top in the standing.
Okay, let's quickly take a look at the scoreboard. Oh,
Like
paradigm
we have
shift is now at the top of the leaderboard with six
right.
problems.
I think they solved L, right? That's the one that's on the right. Yeah.
Yes, they
We just
solved.
solved rectangle intersection. Oh,
Oh yeah, this
rectangle
is the last.
intersection.
I see. I see. Yes,
Like it's an interesting problem as well.
and
Like we
audit
have two
pass
different
as a
variables.
WA.
Like what I would say is going for I is the very bad strategy over here.
Yeah.
Since it's one of the hardest problem in the contest over here.
Yeah.
Like it looks easy to have a solution for it,
Mhm.
and like basically teams are getting deflected over here because the problem set is randomized. Over
Mhm.
Right, but I think there's a decent set of tough problems that are doable. A has been solved, L has been solved, D has been solved, H has been solved. So there's a lot of problems that aren't out of the range of people, the capabilities of people, but
Yeah.
it's also just tough enough that you'll have to put in some effort.
Like
Yeah.
So I guess
as I
teams will now,
mentioned that
yeah.
for I we had wrong solutions 3 days before the contest. And only when we prepared small test cases before stress tested it, we found that our solution is wrong. So it is very tempting to submit on I, but it's a bad strategy to begin with.
Yeah,
And
because I think teams will
people with
realize
teams will
later
realize it very later.
when they see everyone else has wrong answers on it and no one has solved it.
Right.
So I think we are almost 2 hours into the contest. So and audit pass also has a WA on rectangle intersection. So even if they solve it right now, yeah, they will have some lead. Maybe just a few minutes, maybe around
Yeah,
5.
it depends on when they solve it. I think
Yeah.
they get it plus 20, so that's 447, and then they did solve it. No,
No, three of
three
a
of a
kind.
kind.
Three of a kind just solved their sixth problem, and I I think that's rectangle intersection, but
Yeah.
they also have one WA. Uh, surprising. Oh, I see. They have two Ws on knockout miracles. So
I, that's a bit surprising. But
Aryan
like
is just
maybe
happy. His
we
question is
can
tripping
okay
people up.
like
Aryan,
probably
maybe.
one thing I will go and do is look at the solutions for problem
Yeah,
I strong answer,
exactly.
and we can at least know if they are on a right track to solve it or not. So
Who?
I will go
Borderline.
for problem I will take.
Oh,
Like
for
everyone
problem.
just has WAs, it hasn't been solved yet, and people are saying time.
Yeah. If you can just get the WA and AC solution, let's look at the diff and see
For
how
three
big
of
is
our clients,
the.
okay, I will go ahead and do that. Like,
Yeah,
like the problem is we don't have a filter on team names, and like
yeah, we have to.
for harder problems, it's generally easier to obtain like there are few solutions.
Yeah,
But
that's
C is the fourth easiest problem. But I will go ahead and look at it first.
yeah. I think not a lot of teams must have submitted rectangle intersection, so might be easier for now.
Oh, I was looking at. Okay, I will go. Okay,
No,
I
no.
will just have an offline and then I will update what's going on there.
Okay.
Matches version. Make it zero होगा एक ही सॉल्व आया आपका.
Right. Like I just looked at the submissions of three of a kind for knockout miracles,
Okay. And
and they made the same mistake which I made initially in the problem. Like
I see.
instead of taking the minimum in the subtree, they were taking max.
I see. I
Like
see.
so, they were assuming that N team is the strongest and one team is the weakest team. So like that was the exact same solution I had, which I prepared the first set of test cases, and only after someone pointed out, I corrected it. So yeah.
Yeah, similar thing happened with me today while trying to attempt the problem, and yeah, I was making the same mistake. So, uh, let's just quickly look at the scoreboard again.
So
Um,
yeah, I
yeah,
will
looks
just look at rectangle intersection difference as well.
sure, sure. Yeah.
No problems.
We now have plenty of teams. I think 12 teams on 5 problems. Should be interesting to see who solves their sixth problem first. Teams are mostly attempting minimal increasing graph and make it zero. Uh, there are also some attempts on no enemy and maximum bitwise or. Do you think maximum bitwise or is a slightly harder problem compared to, let's say, no enemy and make it zero? Make it zero is probably easier. So we expect more submissions on make it zero actually. So it's surprising that we only have one team so far.
Yeah, you see, there's quite a few solutions.
Mhm.
I mean, quite a few people have attempted it, but
I
don't
see.
seem to have gotten the right answer.
I think we can also quickly just go through uh, the problem, make it zero, which also has a very simple statement. And I guess this will kind of show that why a lot of teams are trying to attempt it right now.
Like yeah, we can just discuss the problem statement for now and keep a solution
Yeah,
on.
yeah. So you have an array containing some n non-negative integers. You can pick any non-zero element from the array, say x, and subtract x from all elements greater than or equal to x. And then you will get a fresh array A. And so you need to keep doing this until you reach a state where all elements of the array are zero. So you need to do this in minimum number of steps. Uh, and the limits are pretty small. You only have 42 test cases per file. And the size of the array is also 42 at most. And every element of the array is also at most 42. So yeah, the constraints are pretty small, which would also kind of give some hint to the contestants about possible strategies to go about it. So yeah, you should also probably try solving this problem, and in a few minutes we'll also discuss this problem, knockout miracles, and several other problems. So Aryan, would you like to discuss rectangle intersection maybe?
Rectangle intersection we can probably keep on. I will just go ahead and show the difference for three of a
Okay.
kind
Sure.
between. Like they had runtime error first,
Mhm.
and then they got like this is the difference they have. Like, n equal to 0 1, and then C out
Can
like
you maybe
like
share
like
screen?
oh, I am doing since oh sorry, I
I
didn't
can't
know.
see yours.
Yeah. So like this is the submission difference between first runtime error and then a correct answer.
Just one sec.
Like exit condition is on n equal to 0, so they are getting runtime errors.
Ah, I see, I see. So they, oh, I see. So they just had to change this, I guess.
Right.
Nice. Yeah, which is why precision is super important in ICPC. You end up giving up 20 minutes on time penalty, and that can possibly mean a world final seat.
Like
Uh,
as soon as they got a runtime error, they realized that something is off. Like then they tested it locally by adding a statement over there,
yeah,
and it looked fine. Then like when it's n equal to 0, it just gets k greater than equal to -1, and that's all.
I see. Yeah, and looks like they have a very short implementation of the solution, which is
Like
nice.
this problem has a short implementation.
Hmm.
Like, like I am not really sure how to solve. Like I was involved in selecting the later problems,
Uh,
but I haven't really looked at what were the setter solution for it. So like that's the problem with everyone on stream right now. Like we know, like I am the setter of three of the problems initially, so I know them. But yeah,
mhm.
like we will have more setters to discuss their problem at least. How did they came up with this problem? Like
Yep.
one of the problem setter we found, like Weber Tulsian found on a supermarket, and that's where he got hold of it and brought it here. So like we
Yeah,
have
so
interesting stories behind the scenes. So I believe the same would be interesting.
yeah, so here in the Bay Area we have this place called Apna Bazaar, where you have a lot of Indian grocery shopping and free chai. And I ran into Web of Gosen, and it is kind of not very frequent that you run into people who you just saw on Code Forces or Code Chef. But I thought I'll just chat with him a little bit and see if he can contribute to the problem set. And yeah, it was
Like you
interesting.
can also introduce Weber Gosian on the stream here as well.
Actually, I'll just ask him to come here. Give me a moment. Just give
Okay,
me two.
then we will introduce you.
So actually, Vaibhav is with me, and
Hello, guys.
yeah, maybe Vaibhav can introduce himself a little bit. And Vaibhav is from IIT Roorkee, and he has represented India at the World Finals. So maybe Vaibhav can talk a little bit about his experience and so.
Like to introduce Weber Gosian here, he represented IIT Roorkee in 2018 World Finals as a part of Team Triangular. The same team Niskas Luthra Paradigm Shift elder brother is a part of the team which is on the top of the standing. And Weber Gersan also went into the World Finals of Course Smackdown three times. So
Thank you for the introduction, Aryan. Yeah, you seem to have done your background research, definitely. But yeah, thanks for having me here. And yeah, I think you guys pretty much summed it up. Yeah, I was pretty involved in competitive programming in both problem setting and taking part in contests in during my college days. But yeah, it has been a nice experience getting back to problem setting after 4 to 5 years actually, and that only happened because of meeting Web of my namesake in front of Apna Bazaar. So yeah, I mean, it led to a lot of good things. Yeah.
like for now, probably Weber, you can discuss your problem. Like at least we can discuss the inspiration for the problem, how you came up with this problem, and some tidbits around them. Like you have multiple problems, right? Minimum increasing graph is one of them.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
for minimum increasing graph, I won't be going into too much detail into the solution of the problem, but the
Right.
motivation for this problem has been I am quite fond of permutations and I keep playing around them in my head, like around them in my head. So I was looking to um, set a different kind of problem uh, on permutations, which I was not able to solve, but on modifying the required required output from a given permutation, I was able to come up with a statement that basically, given a permutation, um, we define a concept of reachability different between different indices, such that if index j is greater than I and permutation of j is greater than permutation of I, if then and only then can node j in the graph be reachable from node I. And we don't want to construct a graph with minimal edges such that only these reachability conditions are satisfied. So yeah, initially I thought that it's a pretty easy solution, and I discussed at a high level with other people as well. But strangely, only when setting a complex enough sample case by hand did I realize that my solution was wrong, and thankfully, Jatin came up with a optimal solution which passes the constraints in time. Yeah. Yeah, like it's strange to see a lot of traction on this question throughout the context. I was not expecting this,
Yeah.
but
Like
happy to see that I was not the only one misled by this question.
like the first solution I proposed was wrong, and Weber instantly flagged it. Like this is where it fails. And then the second solution we had was also wrong. So
Yeah,
it's easier for a team to come up with a solution which looks correct to them, but there are
yeah.
test cases against them.
And you have to build some test cases by hand to realize that your solution is obviously wrong.
Right.
Cool. Weber, would you like to talk about your previous World Finals experience?
Yeah,
Like
definitely. Uh, it takes me back a few years, but yeah, World Finals experience was pretty great. Like the strongest memory I have from the World Finals is when I was entering the arena for the first time. Like it was in a different country, Beijing, but I had, because I had the dream of going to World Finals, I had watched each and every single year's live stream throughout my college, and that arena looked so familiar, but so different when I was standing within it, and it felt like a dream come true, really. So that was a really surreal experience. Outside of that, solving the problem set itself was also pretty interesting. Um, yeah, unfortunately, none of the Indian teams came in top 20 at that time, but one of the teams, Triple IT Hyderabad's team, came pretty close. They were close to solving another problem towards the end of the round. Our team was towards the median of the participants. We were around rank 70, I guess, in the World Finals. But yeah, it was a great experience overall. Yeah.
yeah, your rank was 68. So,
Oh yeah.
like as you mentioned that teams were close to solving and but Triple Hyderabad could not solve it. Like
Mhm.
that's the similar experience I had in ICPC Dhaka. Like
Oh,
our team just read 5 problems and we managed to solve 5 of them. But
okay.
IIT Bombay was at rank 11 after half an hour solving 4 problems.
Whoa.
And they had solutions for next 4 problems. Like at least they have some ideas. And like even the fifth problem which we solved, they had exactly same solution. But somehow they could not implement any of them correctly in last 2.5 hours.
Oh,
So like and Siddhartha has similar experience in his 2 world finals as well. Like
Not
in the
really. I
first
think,
world finals, they solved only 2 problems
yeah.
and they were just trying third problem, but they could not get it for some strange reasons. And
The
even in their
second
second world
one,
finals,
I don't think we were very close either. I think there were a lot of easier problems we could have done if we were in practice, but due to COVID, by the time the World Finals came around, like there was a lot of uncertainty around whether the World Finals will actually happen. So none of us were in practice by then. So when it finally came around, it had been like 2 years since any of us had actually touched C++ by then.
like before world finals, they were just coding D1 AB to even remember like they have to improve bits stdc++.h and all.
Right.
Like their team won 2 regionals and they dominated the first 2 regionals and they even dominated the ACLS finals. But when the world finals happened after 1.5 years of that, they were just out of practice and ended up fluking it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's good to see the community back in action after COVID. Like
yes.
we see a lot of teams on site. It's great to, yeah, have the community come back together. Like COVID would have hit a pause on everything pretty much. Yeah.
Like our CD also has some plans for the next seasons. Like he's planning to even go back to like 300. There were 300 teams when I first participated in Amritapuri regionals in Karnataka. Right now we have just 130 because it's between the semester and they don't have hostels and TNR.
Oh
So
yeah.
like when we will be on normal route in the next regionals, probably which we are planning for December.
Oh,
And
this year we have another regional.
Yeah.
Oh,
like
nice.
like we are getting like we did not had any regionals for 2 years,
Hmm.
and now we are having ICPC regionals every 6 months to complete that backlog. Like
Yeah.
even the regionals which we have this in this April and ACWS finals in May was supposed to happen in last December and January. So
Yeah.
the upcoming regionals would be on track, and like he has planned to have 300 teams back in the regional and make Amritapuri the largest again.
That would be great. And I remember that Amritapuri was always the largest multi-site contest out here in our region. So continuing that trend and allowing more teams to come on site, meet other people who they've always solved problems with online and so on. I think that's a very enriching experience. I used to learn a lot by talking to people after the contest, discussing solutions. It was just inspiring to be there for me personally. And you also learn a lot about yourself and your team. You learn how to do better teamwork over time. You start strategizing for next year. So I think that's a very important experience that stays with you for lifetime, I believe. So uh, hopefully more teams next year.
Right. So, like in your first regionals, you meet some people, then you find some people to compete against, and you have back and forth there, and then you reach to regionals again, and you meet them again. Like probably if you look at these on-sites are the only time when you meet people in real life.
Right,
Like
because
in
before
even
that,
in
it was
ICPC Dhaka, I met few people with whom I have chatted on Discord for 3 years, but I haven't even seen their faces. So that's
right.
different.
And given the nature, you have just essentially obsessively monitored all of their code forces handles for the last 1 year. So you know exactly how well they're doing, how many contests they've been solving recently, and you meet them live. And I mean, meeting people like the senior batches is also quite interesting. So I mean, I believe Vaibhav probably it's super unlikely he remembers, but I met him during the Chennai. You guys won the Chennai regionals then, right? I
We were
believe.
second.
Yeah, you were second. Yeah, so we were seated next to each other during the problem set discussion, and I was discussing problems with you.
Whoa. Oh,
Yeah.
Like
I don't
they
remember.
they had around 20 rank in that region.
Yeah, we didn't do good that
Another
year.
team from IIT Kanpur went to
Yeah, that
that
was
China World
Arjun's
Finals.
Arjun's team. We
Yep.
we knew we had no chance then, but it was pretty cool talking to like a lot of people you've seen on, Code Forces doing well and getting to talk to them live.
Yeah, and I like, even if you like out just outside of the competitive nature of this sport, in general, on-site is a great opportunity to meet people and make connections, which last way more than like if you are just interacting through contests or online. That is a very different experience, and yeah, like on-sites provide a lot of value in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think more
Like
and more
probably
people should start applying and like for at least the next year's online round and give it a shot uh, and see if you can make it.
like
Aryan, you were saying
people in the chat are just saying that we are not reading the chat,
we are not reading the chat. Oh, let's read
Oh,
the chat then. What do we
but
have?
there are just 6 messages over there, and I am like someone mentioned that max median is a meme problem, and he mentioned his solution,
I see.
and I will go ahead and further say that I wanted to add some meme problems over there. The first
Do you
problem
want
which
to check the scoreboard
first
by the
problem
way?
which was ready over here was a plus b. We can probably show its statement over here. Like in the end, nobody supported me for the meme reasons, so I just added it in the practice round.
Okay, so there's not been a lot of change in the scoreboard, to be honest. 2 teams at 6. There's
Yeah, not much change here. Just more WAs for paradigm shift on no enemy as well as one previous W on minimal increasing of.
but we have at least two. So we have 8 distinct problems which have been solved, right? Or 7.
I think 8 or 9. So
yeah, there's 8 or 9 only.
we still have 4 problems left, but
8.
we have 0. 6.
Like we can even discuss what happened behind the scenes for the mock round as well.
Sure.
Like, can you just it it would be in contest, like mock round.
So which mock round are you talking about? The one that happened yesterday? Or
Yes,
I'm not. So I wasn't actively involved
yeah.
in the.
Probably if you can just open it. So like one spoiler ahead, the date yesterday was 1st of April. So
Oh,
So like we did multiple things over here. Like the first problem was a plus b, which I wanted to have it as a cakewalk problem in this round, but no one supported me. So let's just read the problem. First problem should always be a plus b. Input format is there are only two integers 2 and 3, and output format is there you have to just print a single integer 5. Constants are not available and you have one sample. And if one looks at the test cases, this is the only test case present in this problem. But when I looked at the submission, no one did print 5. Everyone took two integers in input and then printed them. And we did interesting things with other contributions problem as well. Like so what we did, this is the same problem we had in online round as well.
Mhm.
What we did was we inserted one more file over there and added a wrong answer output file over there. So people were trying to get AC on it. They were passing the sample. They were passing the first test case, but it was failing on the second test case. And people, after first wrong answer, people looked at it and submitted it again, and it failed again. Some of the teams gave up after that, but one of the team made 32 submissions on this problem, all of them getting WA. And like we just want it, since it was 1st of April, we were like we will have one problem which no one can get an issue on. And then people were complaining ki aise nahi aa raha. What I did was I just looked at the second file, hard coded its answer, and submitted it from our test account. And it was visible in the standing, and then we were like, "Hamara to aise aa raha."
Did you announce it later on that it was April Fool's prank?
No, we did not announce anything. We just removed the test file, reject everything. And in the code drills Telegram group, people were lacking, why is code drills playing April Fool's prank? And we were like, what are you talking about? Can you show something?
Thankfully, the regional did not happen yesterday.
So this is what we did in now. So like we had some more ideas for it, but in the end, this was a prank we went.
Cool. I think the idea of having a mock round is very interesting. I used to think why we need a mock round, etc. But later I realized that the machines that are being used in the contest might be different from what we usually use. So testing the stack size and all of that is super important because your setup needs to be as you usually use when you are practicing, right? So ensuring that everything is working fine and the
Like
judges.
I can share some of the issues which people found yesterday in the mock round.
Okay.
Like one of them was a computer was not working for one of the teams, and they ended up changing their seats. For a few other teams, they log in and passwords were not working, so they had them fixed. For some of the teams, printer was not working, so we set it up there. And one of the things which people do is they generally hardcode if not defined online judge, then read input from a file. Like online judge is a flag passed on CodeChef and CodeForces for the submissions. It works very well there, but unfortunately, it's not available on code drills.
On code
So
results.
once people submitted using their template, they got a WA to it, and they realized that it's not available. So they can be careful in the final round. Otherwise, they would have lost 20 minutes. Like on A plus, I was looking at the wrong solutions after acing everything. Like, why did people got wrong answers on A plus B? So this was one of the things people caught yesterday. Like Make It Zero had one more submissions. Looks like.
Oh, nice. What team is it? Let's just quickly check.
It's
Yeah.
it's DAICT. It's all the way at the bottom, I think. 20th or 21st.
I see.
Yeah.
Like, do we
17th.
know the members of them? Like, I will try to. Like, it's not available here, but
Yeah, they are
like
from DAICT.
like DAICT made it to the World Finals twice.
Mhm.
Like
Fruit salad.
right now, when I have to, fruit
D-
salad. Like when I have to name the person, I am forgetting him, but I have looked
Sumit.
at his score for
Sumit Verma.
Yeah.
Sumit Verma. Like he was almost India number one, right? If I'm not wrong back then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the first time it made it, and second time in the Dhaka World Finals, I have met all the three folks. from DACT who represented. It's not the same team because all three of them has gazetted that I know of for sure.
Hmm.
So it would be interesting to know who are the members of this team now.
And I think Vaibhav might have remembered that regional where
Yeah,
fruit
yeah, I can
salad.
talk about it.
Yeah, maybe
So
you can share more about.
that was during my third year of a college. There were a lot of medium level problems in that contest, which everyone was scrambling to solve and no one was able to. DAICT was like a fruit salad team was one by one solving all the problems and no one else was able to. At the end of the contest, the scorecard was first team had solved 8 problems and all the other teams had solved 4 problems. Like second up to 10th or whatever. Like I don't
After
remember
the
the exact
freeze, after the freeze, or after the contest was
As in
ended.
final
after the
results.
contest had ended.
After the contest had ended.
Oh,
I don't even think a lot of teams solved 4 problems. A
There
lot of
were
teams
few,
Most of
I
solved,
them
think
had
yeah,
two,
only
three
three.
teams
yeah,
had
most,
4.
yeah, only 2 3 teams had 4 and then our team had 3 problems solved and it was complete wipe was I've never seen such a thing like ever in any ICPC
Yeah,
regionals. So yeah,
and while the contest was being set, no one really expected this. I mean, we were just expecting a smooth enough gradient, but with a large number of div 2D type problems or div 2E type problems. But turned out that there was a big jump in terms of the top team and everyone else. So yeah, we heard a lot of complaints that the contest was hard, but
and from a solver's perspective, like if fruit salad team has solved a problem, we still could not say whether it's an easy problem or not.
yeah,
They were so fast with solving problems that even if they solved a problem, we were like okay, we will try it, but like we will only be sure it's an easy problem if someone else solves it, and that never happened actually for a lot of the problems.
so did you learn anything from that experience?
Yeah. I mean, what like definitely one of the learnings was we were too dependent on other people solving problems and then us trying to prioritize it. And we were like, okay, we will solve all the problems which at least one other team has solved. But now we like after that we actually worked on improving. We gave a lot of regional context alone, not actually looking at other scoreboards. We went to a separate website known as VJudge or A2OJ, and we
right.
used to just solve it alone without anyone else, just our team. And then we got way better at detecting which problems are approachable and which are not.
You
That
may
really
want to refresh the scoreboard, by the way. I think another
Like,
team is on 6 problems.
and like there was okay, so there are three ACs on Make It Zero as well.
Mhm.
Like another team is at the lower of the standing as well. Like
Mhm.
it's a bit expected because this problem is a bit easier, but somehow people are not looking at it so far. And
Yeah.
even if you look at that three of a kind and B for brute force, they are getting WS over there.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, later we can discuss their approaches maybe and
yeah,
why they
like
are possibly going wrong.
right.
Yeah, I think Vaibhav mentioned a very interesting point that it's at least for top teams, it's super important to independently figure out what problems they should solve based on their strengths. Because I mean, it is true, right? Every team has some strengths, some weaknesses, and so on. So you should just prioritize what problems to solve. But yeah, it takes a lot of practice. It's definitely non-trivial, I guess.
And there's usually a herding effect when one team solves something based on their strengths, every other team rushes to solve that question.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
a lot of easier questions may be missed because just genuinely no one has looked at it until the top. And if the top team is caught up doing something else or they see questions within their range,
Hmm.
a few easier problems, just kind of get lost.
like Siddhartha's team did the same thing in Gwalior regions, in the which they won.
We
What
did the
they did
opposite.
was like they
Yeah.
solved one of the hardest. They've solved the hardest problem of the contest at around 38 minutes,
Oh,
and like it was probably a textbook problem, something or something similar to that. Like they
No, we
just
just did
went ahead.
greedy and it worked. And so I think Jatin had like a really complicated solution,
Hmm.
like some sort of, like max flow, then a binary search on the max flow graph. And we just solved it with greedy and it worked. So halfway through the competition, Jatin comes up to us and is saying, I'm going to go build more sample test cases because I did not expect like such an easy greedy solution to pass.
and like
And
and you
then-
are the only team to have an AC
Yeah, and
on
we
it
were the
for
only
last 2 years.
team from like the start to the end that had solved that problem. And a lot of people just went with wrong answers on it, expecting it to be easy because we solved it in the first 30, 45 minutes. And I think that confused quite a few people.
and even after stress testing, there was no counter.
Yeah,
test
after
that
stress
suggests that
testing, I think Jatin also figured out that the greedy solution is actually equivalent to his solution.
What
Oh.
problem was this? Do you remember by any chance?
I do not.
Like,
What
I
reason
can
was this?
I can try to fetch the problem statement, but
Yeah,
yeah,
that will be interesting.
2019, 2020 Gwalior, no? 2020 Gwalior, right?
earlier. Like we definitely have a rank list for it, but I am not sure if statements are still available. But I can try to fetch it. Like if I give you the problem statement, like problem set data, can you find which problem it was? Or
Yeah, I
you'll have
mean,
to
I
give
should
some-
recognize it if you give me this.
Yes.
Okay.
So we
Okay, there's wait, two more teams are on 6 now, by the way. I think Audit Past finally cracked.
Ooh, audit pass is very close to.
they cracked H. They cracked no
Yeah.
enemy. So that's
And they still surprisingly have not solved D. So they still have, in theory, like a approachable problem that they can solve. And Kharagpur, I think, solved one more.
equivalent.
Yeah, they solved presumably
Yeah, they
H.
solved H. No enemy.
No enemy.
Now I expect more teams to solve no enemy and make it 0 because when they see the scoreboard and what teams are solving, it's-
like no enemy is a bit easier, but like the
Hopefully.
problem here is people
Problem.
instead of going for GD, it looks a DP problem.
yeah,
And,
that's
and like when we were preparing it, I even wrote a comment to Sutter like GD does not looks correct. This is the counter test case, and this is the DP you should do it.
Hmm.
And then he in fact said that hey, here you are misreading it, and GD would work, and your DP does not work. So
and with 3 WAs on no enemy, right? I think it's going to be a little difficult for paradigm shift unless they can solve I quickly. But
like the problem here might be they are missing out some crucial details in the problem statement,
Hmm.
or it might be the case that we have thought that this is a trivial detail. So like if there are some clarifications, then we can try to. But like looking at 3WS, it looks to me more like they are assuming something wrong with respect to what should we they have they, they should do.
and we have only 1.5 hour left before board is frozen. So let's see how many problems get solved. It would be interesting to see some other unsolved problems getting solved. Looks like none of the teams are there yet. So we still continue to have 4 unsolved problems in the contest. So we have exam requirements, minimal increasing graph, maximum bitwise and talk that talk. So all 4 of these are still unsolved. I guess teams will try out exam requirements. At least the top teams will probably try it out. As the breakdown is somewhat approachable, but yeah, after that I think it's still not very straightforward. So yeah, let's see how the contest progresses. All right, I think maybe we can just take a short break for like 15-20 minutes and then come back.
Like it looks like those regionals mirror is not available on Coursera,
I see.
so we might not discuss it after.
Was it 2019 region?
I think
Yeah,
2019
2019 Gwalior.
I'm trying to figure out which one it is.
So yeah,
Oh right, I was looking at the wrong year. Like,
I
and
see.
also one should click on show all contests, a toggle over there, Otherwise, it just shows stated content. Like one of the reasons they have to introduce this was like they also allow colleges to have their problems set. Like that was a bit necessary when Coursera started with the vision of expanding everywhere. Like at least introduce CP in India. But when colleges used to have big prizes and they don't used to give it back, so people were blaming Coursera for it.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, I'll be back in like 15 minutes, I guess, if you all can continue the stream. Um, Otherwise, we can just take a break for 15 minutes and be back at 11, sorry, at 12 o'clock. 15, 20 minutes.
Okay, we can do that.
Okay, yeah, let's come back at 12 o'clock.
Okay. Like, can you just open on screen and which says we will be back at 12? Like, if
Yeah,
you just open, if you just keep the standing open, people.
yeah, okay, okay.
Like,
it auto?
just open a Sublime text which says we will be back at 12 noon
Yes.
ISU.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, that's
keep that sense. Keep that sense.
hello everyone, and we are back. There are some significant updates on the leaderboard. We have paradigm shift at rank 1 now with 7 problems. Audit pass very close behind, just 16 minutes away in terms of time penalty. And paradigm shift hasn't solved make it zero yet, so that's going to be very interesting. um, Three of a kind follows closely as well, only 34 minutes away from audit pass. And B for brute force from Jadavpur University. They are pretty close as well. So I think if they can quickly solve make it zero, I think they'll have 8 problems. Interestingly, they have gotten AC on L, which is finding the best possible partners. So let's see whether audit pass gets AC on L first, or B for brute force gets AC on A first. And yeah, audit pass already has 3 WAs on L, so it will be interesting to see what happens next. We have Aryan and Vichitra with us. So Vichitra has been our admin for ICPC for the past few years, and yeah, hopefully we'll get him to talk a little bit about his experience organizing these contests.
Like, yeah, we are figuring out the logistics. Like, do we have a mic? Give us some moments, Trevor.
Sorry, can
Just
you?
give us some minutes. Give us some minutes. We
Yeah,
are
yeah.
connecting
Take your
with
time. Take your time.
So, like,
But
what's the status right now? Okay,
status
paradigm
is that yeah, 4 teams on 7 problems, and paradigm shift has.
So so I will summarize what's happening with paradigm shift.
Okay.
Like they had 3 wrong answers on no enemy, which is the problem as you can see. We looked at their submission and we realized that they have a bug which one of our test solutions also had. So there are definitely test cases against it. And basically they are assuming something incorrect, but the problem statement I believe mentions it.
I see.
Basically they just misunderstood the problem statement. And it's what costing them. Like they are close to getting an AC on it, but they need someone who can look at the problem statement again
Yeah.
without looking at what they have coded so far or what they have understood so far.
Hmm.
So if only 2 people in their team have discussed the solution so far, then they might be able to get it. But if all 3 of them have discussed how to solve this problem and what's the summary, then it can become really challenging to reread it from a fresh mind.
Hmm. Yeah, hopefully someone from the team who has not looked at the problem yet, if they can have a fresh look,
Right.
I think
That
might
will help them.
Apart from that, another interesting thing is that audit pass has 3 WAs on finding the best possible partners, and B for brute force has a WA on make it 0.
Make it,
I think they have a chance to be the first to solve 8 problems.
yeah. Right.
Yeah. I see that some teams are trying to solve max bitwise OR, so it will be good to have some ACs here. Um, Maybe we can show the problem as well.
Right. Right. Okay, like max bitwise or is the last problem at least. I am expecting to get an AC. Like
Okay.
after that, there are 2 more problems, and
Yeah.
I'm not expecting them to get an AC in the contest. So
I think exam preparation is also going to be pretty hard to crack, given that.
like yeah, exam preparation also had an interesting background story. Like we got one of the legendary grandmaster to test last 2 3 problems for us, and he also got WAs on exam preparation, and that made us rethink our solutions and everything. So yesterday at 12 in the night, we tested it using our n square solution. Like at least the sample input and sample output we have are correct over there. Like we had a correct solution, and Jatin was very confident about it. But since a legendary grandmaster is the only person who is testing us with us and getting WA on it, so we downloaded all the test cases sample outputs, ran it locally using n square solution, which allowed to have an increased time limit, and then we verified all of these details again.
So, yeah,
I
that
guess
was
it is very
interesting. And I think exam preparation also has faster solutions compared to N square.
Right.
So Hussein and I were just discussing that today while just evaluating the test set, and we noticed that there is some scope in improvement for the tests, because initially there were only random inputs, and we observed that just finding intersections fast and then constructing a graph was passing. So we had to come up with new tests. Maybe Gavin can talk more about it.
Yeah, so just like right around the time when we were scrambling to see whether LGM solution was right or our solution was right, we also tried out a few more optimized brute force algorithms. One of them was order of number of intersections rather than simply n square. And if
Right.
number are too many, just output no. Like we have not gone into too much details of the equation, but essentially you can just trivially assume that the condition which are asked is possible if the test case is too complicated. And that was actually passing. So like in the last just a few hours before the contest, we spent like me and Webber spent like 2 hours constructing very interesting test cases and trying to prove that it is even possible. Is it even possible to generate test cases which intersect a lot and actually have answer as yes? And we were actually able to come up with 2 3 test cases which beat very smart greedy solutions.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah, I think in
At
terms of
least can we open that problem on the screen for the audience?
yeah, I think that's an interesting problem. Okay, Weber, would you like to just talk about the statement?
So yeah, so it's a pretty simple statement and a very familiar situation for people who have given multiple exams in a day. I hope I
And
have reminded me of my days in university when
like
there
that's
has
the case in IIT suddenly. Like end sems
exactly.
happen in mid sems happen in just 5 days, and sems take 8 days, and academics office just decides like each day there will be 4 slots. Like end sem is of 3 hours, so each day 4 slots, and mid sem each day 5 slots. And the only thing they try to ensure is they don't force someone to take 2 exams in the same slot.
Exactly.
Like
So here,
so, like it's very easy to have like for first year it's people they generally say that each people everyone has at least one day. The problem is like those courses have at least 800 people, and they don't really have very big rooms. But after that, like 2 days, two exams in a day is really common, and like and in 8 semesters you will definitely find one day where you will be giving 3 exams on the
exactly.
same day.
And it's
So
really
like
fun to attend 3 exams in a day when you have not slept the entire night because you started studying at midnight yesterday.
right,
So yeah, I mean, anyways, like the situation is similar in this question that you have n exams on the same day, and their starting time and ending time is given, and you like to pass an exam, you must attend an exam in its entirety. We are assuming that you are like infinitely smart, so if you attend an exam, you will pass it. You just need to attend it to pass the exam, and you cannot attend overlapping exams. So you need to fully attend an exam, and if any two exam ranges are overlapping, then you cannot attend both the exams. And then you have some credits requirement to satisfy, which are given in the form of each requirement is in the form of A or B, which means you need to attend at least one of A or B to fulfill all the like M given requirements. That is the problem statement. And yeah, you need to print just yes or just a simple yes or no, like whether you can or cannot fulfill all requirements while attending only non-overlapping exams. So yeah, like we can model this problem in terms of Boolean expressions where each exam is a Boolean variable. True means you are attending that exam, false means you are not attending that exam. And this can be written in terms of many conditions, like if A and B, A comma B is a requirement, then uh, one of A or B should be true. So A or B Boolean expression should be true. And we have other types of requirement like Boolean expressions where A and B intersect. That means that like one of A or B should be false. So A not or B not should be true. And all of these can be combined using conjunction, which is and this becomes a 2CNF Boolean expression, which is a well-known problem to solve using 2SAT, 2 satisfiability. But the twist in this problem is that even though up till here it's pretty standard, you need to the constraints are such that n square solution won't pass. And here, the way we described it, there can be up to n square intersections between exams if the test cases are strong enough. Thankfully, hopefully they are now. And yeah, so to solve this, you need to intelligently create edges um, to some dummy nodes, to some dummy segment tree like nodes, so that instead of creating n square edges, you create n log n edges. Yeah, only
oh
two.
nice. Like, that's an interesting insight. Okay, you create a segment tree, and each node represents a range. And what you are saying is, for every range, you will have at least log at max around log n nodes in that segment tree, which would be intersecting. And segment tree generally has at max 4n nodes.
Hmm.
So you would be making conjunctions with that segment tree nodes and these exams.
Exactly, yeah. So in the end, our two satisfiability graph will have order of n edges and log n norms. So with some constant factor, but yeah, like this is like
Right.
solvable in order of n log n time.
It's really interesting. Like order n square is a textbook problem over here. Like at least for the people who are solving it, but making it n log n using segmentary nodes is something which probably I am seeing for the first time. So
And interestingly, it doesn't seem like people have tried out the like a two sat yet on it, even
right,
the n square one. Doesn't seem like that.
right. Oh, so you are saying like someone assumes that our test cases are weak and n square might pass it, or
Yeah, yeah,
or
exactly.
just submit it to get AC on some of the test cases to at least
Yeah.
validate that the idea is correct. So, so we have Vichitra with us who would like to connect with and say something, and you can also ask some questions in the chat. So Vichitra would be joining audio from his phone, but video from my laptop. So I will go on mute.
Okay,
But
sure.
Hi guys.
Hello. Yeah,
What are we
Vichitra,
discussing?
I'm going to pin you on the live stream, and yeah, you can share. Maybe you can share your experience helping organize all of the recent ICPC World Finals. So, FYI, Vichitra has been kind of leading this entire effort for all of us as the administrator for all of the ICPC regionals that we have been doing, as well as the online rounds, from coordinating all of the problem setters, managing everything on the technical side on code drills, and so he has kind of been the powerhouse behind this entire effort. So thanks, Vichitra, for doing all of this and working tirelessly over time. So yeah, I would like to know your experience going through this process.
I think that's that's a lot of great. But yeah, I think first I would thank you, Vevo. Vevo have been taking care of the whole problems at this time. So when we started for this year, it was like we were not even getting problems for qualifier. So pretty difficult. We were trying to reach setters. We hardly had like 4 problems. Somehow we got like made it 7 for the qualifier, but then we are very short on the number of problems for the regional round. And it was like given only 10 to 15 days between qualifier and regional. So we thought, we will reduce the duration, maybe try to squeeze it the regional round, maybe 8 problems, 4 hours, something like that. But somehow we got more people involved. Vevo wrote another Vevo. So thanks, man.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
always try to reach out to setters to see if they would like to continue contributing. So
Yeah. So the issue with Indian ICPC community is not many people are coming back to contribute problems. So that is also one of the reason why Gwalior Pune is not happening this year, because we couldn't find the setters. That was the major reason. Yeah, we didn't have enough problems for the Gwalior Pune.
yeah,
So I think one more update would be we are having Asia West Finals probably in the first weekend of May.
okay, yeah, that's great. And how many teams are going to be participating in the Asia West Finals?
It would be probably similar to last year, something around 70, I guess. We would be having teams from Amritapuri regional, Kanpur Mathura regional, Dhaka, then one of the Pakistan regional, which is Topi probably, and then Afghanistan and Kabul. So those regional might not have like good number of teams. There would be maybe 1-2 teams only from the Afghanistan and Kabul region, but at least like Dhaka would have good number of teams. Last year it was more like who will win, either like Dhaka folks or the Indian regional folks.
Yeah, last year's Asia West Final was very interesting. I think the top Indian team had already sort of qualified for World Finals, I guess.
Yeah, one interesting part was like one team had qualified from 2 regionals. They participated, like they were ranked 1 in both of them, Amritapuri and Kanpur, IIT BHU team. And in Asia West, they got very bad rank, I think. If they hadn't qualified, then they wouldn't have got World Final slot.
Refresh the scoreboard.
Refresh scoreboard, yes.
Just
Let-
ask them to.
Yeah, who is sharing?
Yeah, I'm doing that.
Okay.
Yeah, scoreboard.
Do we have any major updates? Let's see. Okay,
Yeah.
so we now have 3 of a kind at 8 problems. As we had talked about earlier, I think the last problem that they solved is finding the best possible partners. And we have audit pass at number 2 now. And looks
So
like
3
they-
of a kind is again on the top. They have already qualified to World Finals from last year.
yeah. Yeah,
Also, we are merging the teams from the last 2 years World Finals this year.
yeah.
So like 2022 and 2023 World Finals would be kind of hosted together. Probably it's a parallel running contest on the same problem set,
Mhm.
happening like at which place is it? It's Sharam, right? Egypt. Yeah.
I see.
Oh.
It's in Egypt. I think it's Saram probably. But yeah, these both world finals would be like parallelly running on the same problem set.
What happens to the teams who qualify from both? From both
So
sides?
the rule was, once you qualify from one of the world finals, you can replace your team. Probably, you would drop off. So if there is another qualifying team from your college, then that would go to the
The other one.
like world finals. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I think
I
Audit
think
Pass had a story, right? Audit Pass was like last team who couldn't make from
First team who could not make.
sorry, first team who couldn't make from Asia West. Like 15 teams got selected and they were 16th or something.
I see.
And they solved same number of problem. They was were behind the time penalty.
On time penalty. I see. I
Okay.
see.
Okay. The 17 number team had one less problem.
Okay.
So like
Yeah, I think that is sometimes very painful to see because
very like if you are lost out on a problem, I don't feel bad for the team. Like at least there was someone who was better than you. But when it comes to time penalty where you are just 60 minutes behind and you miss out, then it's a bit painful. That's like basically if you look at the scoreboard, three of a kind was the strongest team, and Audit Fail is the Audit Pass is the second strongest team because all the other teams which were in between are just skipping everything. So it is consistent with what was expected. And now we can see that there are 8 ACs.
Hmm.
Like, how many problems do we have? Do we have 11 or 12? Oh, 12,
we
right?
have
Right.
we have E, F, and J yet to be solved, right?
Like, can you just what are the problem names?
Yeah. So these are talk that
Talk,
talk.
talk, talk.
I think which will be the hardest problem in the set, along
Right.
with
With
maximum
maximum.
bitwise will probably be attack next. I think
Like,
there's
I have.
minimal enough
Okay.
and exam requirements.
Okay. Right. Okay. Basically, what I at one point I was thinking like we have only 10 problems and 8 are AC and 2 are supposed to be unsolved. So like, do those teams don't have anything else to solve? But no, they have 2 more problems.
And it's good that Faceless Man is trying out exam requirements. I don't think anyone else has WAs from amongst the top teams. Minimal increasing graph is now solved by paradigm shift, which is very interesting. So I think they can focus on make it zero next. My guess is that they're probably stuck in proving out the bounds before making a submission because
And like, yeah, the problem here is make it zero has very less number of states over there. And
Yeah.
once someone realizes it, then they can solve it. And right now, probably teams are holding on making any heuristics. Once the scoreboard gets frozen, like
Yeah.
all 3 of members would be attacking only one team problem. That's what we generally used to do, and then we will see a lot of issues. And like until yesterday, there were bound was n less than equal to 30. So it was easier to see that bounds would be low. But once we increase it to n 42, like the model solution we have which reaches down all the states just takes 11 milliseconds. So, yeah,
Yeah.
probably Vichitra wants to say something.
Which is the problem? H. They have 3 penalties, right? I think they are making some mistake. I think all 3 of them are trying some same solution. They should be able to fix it, and they would be like having it. Can you scroll to H? What is that problem name?
H
No,
no,
I mean,
No, yeah. We were just checking the test data if it's correct or not because many teams solved it and they are making some mistake. But seems they have a bug in the code. If they fix it, then they would be like, but still they won't go at top, right?
Do we know what's the bug? There too? Or no, again?
I really don't know. Chaitanya was checking.
like it was mentioned. Like I haven't 1 second. Let me just look at like one of the tester had the same bug when he was testing.
Oh, I see.
Okay, so the problem statement explicitly mentioned that your site of okay. First, open the problem. Let's discuss it, and then I will mention what's the bug there. So yeah, probably Weber, you can take the lead and explain the problem statement.
Okay, yeah. So essentially, you have a 2D grid, and the grid can be very large. So you need not materialize it. But let's assume that you have some graph, so some 2D grid, which is 1 cross 1, oh, sorry, 1 comma 1 to 10 power 9 comma 10 power 9. And the bottom left cell has coordinate 1 comma 1, and the bottom right cell has one coordinate 1 comma 10 power 9. And the top rightmost cell will have coordinates 10 power 9 comma 10 power 9. Now you have n people standing on a distinct cell at time t equals to 0, and every person is facing in one of the four directions, that is either north, south, uh, east or west. And yeah, so essentially at the end of every minute, everyone simultaneously rotates 90 degrees anti-clockwise. So you know that this is a transition that is being made at every time step. So if a person is facing the left direction, then they will be facing down direction, and then the right direction, and then the up direction. So that so everyone faces in a different direction uh, at every time step. And if there are any two people, if they have the same line of sight, if they are facing each other, then they become enemies forever. So the line of sight is essentially the straight line that goes from one person to the other. And if the line hits one person, then that's where the line ends. So you can't cut through another person to reach another person. So to define a line of sight, this is the important part, that you either reach another person or the end of the grid.
And
And
this is the bug paradigm shift has. They
I
are
see.
going till the end. They are not stopping when they hit someone over there.
I see. Yeah. So
And to clarify these things, yesterday night we also added samples which had photograph of how long a line of sight can be. Like
okay.
if you look at it, okay,
Hmm.
probably the issue is we are just stopping at the grid. So okay, right, we should have gone it outside that, or we should have added one more row over
One more
here,
person, maybe. Yeah.
right? No, not one more person. The problem here is if you look at it, it goes R to D and it only goes up till the fourth block because the
Hmm.
grid ends there.
I
But if
see.
you up and down was supposed to be this, but since it has only four, so it's just ending over there. Like, but on the other hand, if you look at the explanation of sample, right, it explicitly mentions what all points a line of sight can have. So for t equal to 2, we are just having only 4 points, but for all the other, it's going.
I see. I see.
So
Yeah, I
like,
think this should probably be solved by more people, this problem.
right,
So
yeah. So the problem here is if paradigm shift finds this bug after the contest, they would be really pissed off.
yeah, and
Because
they have another WA. They have
like
another.
probably I will go ahead and check the difference between the two solutions.
Yeah, yeah, we should just check.
Okay, I will do that thing. The problem name was
The problem name is no enemy.
correct. Like yesterday night we were spending time creating those.
Hmm. IIT Patna is also on 7 problems now. So
Do we know who are the members of this too?
no, I don't really know. You can check.
Like, like their initial team was Convex Chul,
Okay.
and in the online due to online round they qualified being the top team from their college.
Hmm.
And interestingly, they also after the online round, the result of last World Finals came in, like who all would be participating,
Hmm.
and they found that they have qualified for it, and they
Oh,
just dropped out, and this is the replacement team. Like, they were like, if we qualify for the World Finals again, and then we send in replacement, it's better if we send them to regionals and let the
yeah.
team try to win on their own. Like they were like, if they knew, like since only one team would be representing in college, and if we knew we would have already qualified for it, we might have skipped to give opportunities to the other teams. So
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Giving opportunities to other
like,
teams, I
like
guess.
giving opportunities to fetch slot for their own rather than getting a world final slot again and then giving it to them.
Yeah,
Like
makes
that
sense.
would be unfair to one of the last person to qualify for the world final. Like they would feel it has been taken from them. So yeah, paradigms looks like paradigm shift. Okay, 1 second. So,
So, Weber, what do you think? What should paradigm shift do at this point? Like, do you think everyone in the team should probably just get together and focus on this problem, or do you think they should just continue with their existing strategy and maybe focus on problems?
I think given that
The thing is, we tried clarifying their bug, but probably the images are not good enough to show that. And they should explicitly read samples over there. Like they missed a statement instead in problem statement, but samples clarify it.
I think like at least one person from their team should tackle A, because A seems to be a predictably approachable problem which at least three teams have solved, and they have not solved. So yeah, I mean outside of that, yeah, I mean eventually they should get to H, but while also trying to solve A, which I think they might be doing already.
It looks like Paradigm Shift rewrote their complete solution, modifying a lot of it.
So I think it looks like a second person wrote their code.
Right. Okay, like if now I'm looking at it, the DFS was global. It's now all the states are local. Like okay, they might be assuming that they are not clearing global states over there.
Yeah, maybe they think it's just an implementation bug.
Yeah. Like
Another common strategy is if you are getting a wrong answer on a question and there is enough time left, instead of trying to debug your solution, asking a teammate to code it from scratch, code another version from scratch.
like it sometimes backfire as well. Like I had the similar story from Dhaka.
I think it's more effective when you are giving an online contest where you have multiple access to multiple machines.
Right. Okay, like in our case, it was the person who initially wrote the solution was correct, but he had some bugs left and right. And and I was like, instead of debugging it, I can rewrite from scratch, and I assumed something wrong. Made multiple wrong submissions over there, and then he just added, like he wrote a correct part, and I actually removed it. And to get an AC on it, you have to add those things again. So, like, but yeah, paradigm shift should really. I don't know how they can debug it, but yeah,
You get related.
like it's like the idea looks good and it's approachable for them. Just that they are missing out crucial details.
Yeah, and I think now it's going to only be tough for them to catch up because they have 4 WAs, which is like 80 minutes of time penalty in the gadget.
But I mean, because they've solved IE, it's a big leap for them. They can if they can get to 9 problems solved,
Right.
they have a chance.
Yeah, they have a chance. If
Like
they can,
they have a chance to win by a problem.
that's a good point actually. And if they can probably attack make it 0 now, maybe they can also switch to maximum bitwise in the meanwhile. Although it has lesser submissions, but I think that is the next problem they can attack.
Yeah.
Oh, like minimum increasing up. They are the only ones with the correct.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of other people have tried it, but people have like completely
Thanks
wrong.
to your night out yesterday, they don't have any C yet.
So yeah, let's see how this goes. And maybe we can just look at the state again. So Knockout Miracles now has a lot of ACs, and so does Rectangle Intersection. So I guess that's great. Good to see plenty of teams. I think our prediction was that half of the teams will solve Knockout Miracles. I think they're not very close.
Right. And the rectangle intersection setting was similar. Like we were looking for some easier problem. Like at one point of time, we had last 6 problems of the contest, but we did not have problems for the first 6. And we were just discussing random ideas. That's how we came up with that LIS1 rectangle intersection and all.
Yeah, all of these ideas just came up very quickly, I think.
Like,
it's kind of one.
Like when I was an active problem setter and I was testing a lot of contests, I was thinking of creating one starter which has all the problems written by me. And I submitted that proposal. Admin reviewed it 1-2 times. My cakewalk problems were rejected in it, and last 2-3 problems were approved over there. And then I just lost the enthusiasm, and those problems were over here with me for last 2.5 years.
Oh,
And among them, one of that coloring problem in online round was the hardest problem in that set.
Right.
Like, and even in this contest, we had one problem, but unfortunately, we found a similar problem written 3 years ago in a internal college first year programming contest for one of the person we had on the panel. So we had to drop that as well. So
Maybe you can use it in some other
like
contest.
probably we can give it on some coding contest. Like
Yeah.
basically, yeah. And first thing I did was science. I had that idea for 3 years with me. I looked at the timestamp when it was created for that contest,
Hmm.
and the thing was they did it 3 months before me only.
Ah, I see.
Then
That's
I was like at least मेरे दिमाग में से तो कोई आइडिया नहीं निकाल रहा.
yeah. I think there will be similar experiences in the Asia West final because we don't have a lot of time remaining.
when
Like
is the
that
First week of May.
first week of May, and we had to drop one of the problems that I had, and like it was a kickoff problem, but then someone Google we after we created it and submitted, showed it to everyone. Someone just gave us a Geeks link. We just solved it, so we dropped that as well. Had
Cakewalk.
that been
Yeah, sorry, go on.
love one which Webber you prepared a night before. Like I guess you remember. Let's not say the problem statement over here.
Yes, I remember it.
Like minimum increasing rough. Like teams are trying it but not getting it. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hopefully more teams will.
yeah, like at least looking at the current state, I expect Paradigm. So like it's Paradigm. They have a G in between.
are people getting TLE or wrong answer in I? In
Okay, I will take a look at it. I is minimum increasing sequence, all right?
yeah, yeah.
And if they can get it in the next 25 minutes, I think they'll be
Have all the
first.
top teams solved L?
And yes,
Oh, yes.
several, all the 4 top teams are solved L. And one of the teams here, Bits Goa has solved L. Plenty of WAs otherwise.
But only 5 teams have solved L.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, people are getting wrong answers.
On which one?
Minimal increase in top.
Yeah, like
I see.
Hyderabad, Bits Pilani, Hyderabad campus have a TLE.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
That's the only TLE we have.
Okay.
Rest everything is wrong answer. So people do okay, like might be the case that people are directly trying to implement and login. It's not. Okay, I will fetch some water.
Yeah, let's be back in like 5 minutes. Hey everyone. So last 15 minutes before we freeze the scoreboard, I think we have a question, no, a solution idea from Triveni in the
And
comment.
yeah, I also read it.
Yeah, I think it's the same solution that Web of Gosen had initially,
Yeah,
and
like really, that's the same incorrect solution we had
that's the same
initially.
incorrect solution. Exactly.
So like that and yeah. So so like at least it gives us the confidence. Everything looks like we can also introduce training on this one. Like what Triveni is from IIT Kanpur, my college alumni. He also qualified for the ICPC World Finals. But at that time, year two teams from our college qualified, and like we were discussing it 2 days ago only, like how they missed out against the other team.
Yeah,
So it's a really interesting story, but we can find it for some other time.
yeah, that was sad, kind of. So
Like you were best, but there was someone at your home only who was better than you. So like in their case, probably they were the strongest team. Like since two teams qualify from the same college, coach generally decides it, and
yeah,
probably like they were stronger um, than the other team, but probably the coach decided to send the other team. The story or something like this.
a similar thing also happened in IIT Bombay several years back. I think early 2010s or something. When same situation, they just held another contest between those teams.
Yeah, like what I heard was they were asking for a contract, but like coach just decided to send a random team among the two.
Okay. Um, so any predictions, Aryan? Who is going to end up first, second, third?
Like looking at current scoreboard, I will shoot out for paradigm shift to win this contest. Like H is something they should just read the problem statement carefully, and
Yeah.
they might also get confused how the coordinate system is represented over there. Like one cell is bottom left, and in the example it's above. So probably we might have formulated it in a better way and more formally. So they might not have reached out this way. And like problem is like if shift gets an AC on H, they will directly, I believe, best strategy would be to move on to A. And
Mhm.
once someone starts coding A, it's an AC.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah.
So paradigm, if looking at the scoreboard, it looks easier like to have 9 ACs. So yeah, I will root out for paradigm. And it would be a good read, like discuss Lutzai's first year, and like it's very rare to see a world finalist in the first year of college.
Yeah, that is very rare, especially in India. I think it's
Like,
super rare.
like in India, it's mostly third and fourth events. Sometimes we see exceptions of second year, and for first year, Jatin Day is the one exception we are aware of.
Yeah.
Like there might be more, but yeah. And, yeah. We are just 10 minutes before.
Let's try to see what problems these teams are solving now. So maybe we can. I would like to just see if anyone is running samples or something, so that we know.
Okay, I can take a look at that.
Yeah, I'll take a look as well. It has almost been 45 minutes since Paradigm Shift tried submitting no enemy. So it's been a while. Maybe they are thinking on A right now. So
Crucial thing is not to think about it. Just code it.
Stressman is getting TLE on make it 0.
Faceless man.
Yes.
They need some more of
Their idea mostly looks correct to me. I don't think at a high level there's much of a problem. I'll just share it with you.
We have around 10 minutes to strength freeze, right?
Yeah.
What do you guys
Like,
think? Who would be on top
Audit pass
at the
had
at
a
this
wrong
phase?
answer. Audit pass has wrong answer on exam requirements.
On exam
So,
requirements.
Yeah, 10 minutes ago.
Let me
So-
check their solution. Facelessman also has a WA on exam requirements. I'll first see audit pass solution. So 2SAT part is correct. I mean, they are using 2SAT. I'm just trying to see how they are constructing edges now.
Okay, faceless man.
Hmm. Oh, I think they do have a secretary based solution. They also have a segmentary now. I think they are on the right track. They might be
Audit
able to
pass.
get,
Audit
yeah,
pass.
audit pass can get exam requirements in the next 15 minutes, I think. If they are able to debug this, they are pretty close in my opinion. But yeah, maybe Gosen can just verify. But if they have secretary in their
Yeah, at
code,
least what we believe is they are going on a right track to follow.
yes.
And
next,
contest still has 1 hour left.
we can also check Faceless Men. They have 2SAT, and Um,
Oh, one interesting thing I realized is audit
Mhm.
pass team name last year was audit fail, and they were the first team to not qualify. So this time they changed it to audit pass, and here they are.
Wow.
Like that's why I was getting confused. I'm saying audit fail, and it's showing audit pass here.
Faceless men seems to be a little far from the solution. They are trying to sort of intelligently just apply TOSAT on some of the intersections, I guess. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, I'm not sure if
Okay.
this is
But
going.
last night out in shows like they are far away from it.
Okay. So I'm going to probably root for audit pass now. I think audit pass will probably end up with 9 problems.
Do you
And
think
then
they will solve in like 7 minutes or at the end?
Like they will definitely solve it before 5 minutes. So
yeah,
5 hours is what we are looking. So
hmm.
Okay.
do we know who are these B for brute force?
Let's check.
Like let's just look at the team members. Like it might be the case. It might be somebody. If you the thing is if you open the qualifier round and search for the same team, there you will find the team members also.
If you have a
Members,
link or something.
yeah, I will send it to you. They were 2015 online round. Before the book.
Okay.
And other thing we wanted to look at was Manzar from Patna. Manzar from Patna was also sixth in qualifier round.
Hmm.
Okay, then Conrad still was from Dhanbad, not from Patna. So the Dhanbad team was a replacement. They had. IIT Patna, that Manzar is Awekane, and he is a Grandmaster on Code Forces. Has also represented India in IOI.
Oh, nice.
Awekane. Like
Awaken.
so like there is a code forces block about them. That year 4 people qualified and they kept their name like Sleepy Southwest, American Wrestling Radical, and I'm forgetting the fourth. So yeah. So he is doing computer programming for last 3 to 4 years.
And last 3 minutes before we finish the scoreboard.
Yeah, like this is a code forces block about American.
Let's check in 1 second. This one?
Yeah, like it's 3 years ago.
Nice.
Earlier, code forces used to keep the older names in the comments. So those like it was better to read them. Now
Mhm.
it's more like Sleepy Passwords. New username is Sleepy Password.
Mhm.
So it does not become. And I believe Ane is also in its first year.
Wait, oh really? But he participated last year, right?
If he participated last year, then it might be the second year. Like I can just check last year.
Yeah, I think he participated last year too.
Yes.
But he made two regionals, that I am not sure. Like they had
He would
one
have,
more
if
team
he
from their college.
participated, he would have definitely made it to the regional and probably A7 center.
Yeah, maybe.
I remember that Anaya solved like one of the harder problems in I think it was the Amrita regional last year. I think he solved.
Was it
Uh,
regional or like qualifier?
no, I think he did participate in the regional last year, right? That's what I remember.
Probably they didn't make to HRS then. I don't know.
Oh, so Nisank is mentioned that he is a tester, and like if faceless minds change their map to unordered map, they will get a message like DP memorization. So, and I have once mentioned on code forces like you shouldn't really use unordered map if you don't know why you are using it.
Yeah,
Generally, the
yeah,
constant factor is always high, and you might get head for and square. This is all.
I agree. And I don't know why there is this sort of fake publicity that you get.
Unordered map is all I want.
Yeah. Okay, nice to see plenty of teams on six problems now. Uh,
Uh, I only remember one ad coder problem where I changed to unordered map because I knew like the map would have continuous segments sometime. There
hmm,
would be continuous ranges over there,
hmm.
and that like
Do you know how GP hash table compares against unordered map?
I am not aware of the details. There is a blog by Neil where if you can open it, he mentions the details how it works, and then he goes on to so how one should construct a test case against it. So there are order and conditions like blowing up unordered map. That's the comment. Like this is benchmarking for
This
an
benchmark
yeah
blowing up.
yeah this is the
Nice. Hmm, nice. Because after I saw some performance gains from GP hash table, I just started using it in several contests. Um, until I hit one problem where it wasn't really
like
beneficial.
sometimes like hashing itself takes some
Yeah. But I think it's just a lot of fun reading through all of these implementations because you get to see that, uh, there's a nice way to write all of this in a modular way and expose uh, easy to use APIs the for developers like us, for example. So I think they have done a great job writing all of these libraries,
yeah.
policy-based data structures as well as other ones. So
The thing is now one has to write in Go as well. Go and Java. Java still has, but Go needs it because
yeah,
people are moving to Go as
yeah, with recent advancements in AI and stuff, I think that is going to become much easier. So,
well. Like yeah,
okay, so the scoreboard is now frozen, and let's see who ends up winning this contest.
so
It's the
now the
winner.
case is when we would be knowing who all are getting ACs and what's their standing, but no one else would be knowing.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the interesting part of being a Saturn.
Cool. Aryan, maybe for Asia West finals, we should get some of the previous Indian world finalists to do a live stream like Tourist and Peter do and solve it with a slightly
Right.
delayed
This
contest.
December, like last year, Siddhartha, who was with us, when
Hmm.
Amritapuri region was happening, that he wrote
Hmm.
a tweet like he is missing out the live commentary used to
Hmm.
happen on Coaches. Then in Asia West, I woke up when half of the contest was over,
Hmm.
and I was like, let's do it. So we started doing it on Twitter. Like we
Nice.
didn't knew anyone from Coders. Like we knew people from Coders, but we were doing it independently on our own.
Hmm.
This time, since I was a setter as well, and Vichitra was also here, so we just decided to do it. There was no publicity and anything over there. Like, we
Right.
just wrote a blog after the contest started. That
Hmm.
we are doing. So yeah, probably we can plan something for Asia.
Yeah. And yeah, probably next time we can also
Like
show
so,
pieces.
someone in the comments is asking paradigm shift is from first year. I want to clarify that one of the guy whom I have met in regionals in the same regional Bangalore regionals 3 years ago. He was in school back then participating for ICPC for schools. He is probably the one from the first year. Like his other teammates can be seniors as well. So we don't really know who they are. Like that year they won the ICPC for schools, which used to happen.
Cool. So what's the plan after the contest ends on the site, Aryan? What's going to happen?
Like there was a plan to have solution discussion,
Okay.
but we don't have people on site who know how to solve last six problems. Like
Hmm.
I was involved in selecting the problems, but I didn't really look into the details of how exactly one solution.
Hmm.
So at least we won't be able to do it. But yeah, if some of the setters join from online, we might have solution discussion session,
Hmm.
Yeah,
and then
Jatin
we
would
would
join us. Jatin would join us.
okay, and then we also have a closing ceremony where earlier last time when the closing ceremony happened when I was here 3 years ago, they in- showed us the result of content and calling the monsters 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. So that would happen.
Nice.
We also have RCD sir with us over here in Bangalore.
Hmm.
Earlier they used to in Amritapuri. So after all the initial welcome, thanks note and everything, it was used. They used to relate to Bangalore.
Yeah.
And so basically all the main people are at Amritapuri site, but all the top 10 teams are in Bangalore site.
Yeah.
So yeah, this time we have some people over
Yeah. Finally, that change has happened. It
here.
was long due, I think.
Yeah.
I think we will move back to Amritapuri next year.
So, like yesterday we were discussing like Amritapuri there had a beach around us and all. So we were like,
They had very nice grand dinner yesterday night, so we are thinking we will enjoy that next time. Devu, you have been Amritapuri, right?
Yes.
Their dinner is so good, man. That's what I have heard.
Yeah, their dinner is nice, and it's a lot of variety of food. And yeah, I really liked it. Even the breakfast was nice. So before the contest, everyone used to come to this one big hall, and everyone is gearing up for the main contest. And before that, just having some early morning
regarding
beverage.
right, I have been to Coimbatore and Bangalore campus, so I know that, but I haven't been to Amritapuri.
Mm.
And regarding breakfast, yesterday I slept at one around, and I forgot to have an alarm for me to wake up. So I just woke up 15 minutes before the contest when I got a call. Where are you? So
Yeah. So in 2016, all of us were in Amritapuri for to manage the contest and so on. And I remember that Praveen Dinwa was the admin that time, and he was just grabbing 10 minutes of sleep whenever he got some time, and he was just sleeping on the floor in the room where all the judges were present. And yeah, he somehow managed to do that consistently over time
Like
and spent
last
several.
night also he was filming on the channel. Like there are
Yeah,
some problems with his test. Like
yeah, he
Praveen
has.
Digla has been a SATA tester for around 10, 12 years now. Like he also graduated from IIT Kanpur.
Yes.
He is from 2010 batch, so he graduated around 2014. And he also had a story how he could not make it to the World Finals. Like we were discussing yesterday that as well.
Hmm,
And then he was coach of admin for some time.
hmm.
Also a chief judge for ICPC regional. And now he's just testing out. Like he's like others should also probably have more opportunities. And basically others should also manage. Basically.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I have always been kind of inspired, and I realized that.
like he is doing it consistently for last 8 to 9 years.
Yeah,
So, and the most experienced SATA tester, I would say, among all the people there.
yeah, agreed, agreed. I think Balaji also contributed heavily to problem sets earlier. I think now he focuses more on improving the Codels platform. So kudos to him for having a very fast platform. I would say we get responses for submissions very fast right now. So I think those are some non-trivial optimizations they have made. So
Like what I have heard is the site can handle the load of 40,000 participants at once,
yeah.
which could have sometimes lags down when there are 10, 12,000 people. And
Mm.
code forces now can manage 30,000 people, but when they just came in, it was
Yeah, we load tested like with 30,000 users before hosting the first online qualifier on Codels. That was like after COVID. We had something around more than 3,000 teams, 15,000 people.
okay. Someone is asking, can we use Tonelli Sans algo for talk.com? And to answer that, I would say like only two people know how to solve that problem. One is the setup. He's a legendary grandmaster game game, and the other is Japin Yadav. Like none of us know how to solve this. And like the initial when Japin read it, he even had a better solution than the setup. And that's the hardest problem of this contest.
By the way, we have Kanpur Regional coming next weekend.
Next weekend, nice. Maybe a
Yeah,
few of us can team up and solve the mirror live or something like that.
Maybe problems are like not prepared by us. I have no idea how
Yeah,
many
that is
problems, what they are doing.
yeah. So
okay,
because we
what okay. Japin mentioned something and then he also gave a disclaimer since it's frozen now. Don't forget to not basically don't discuss those things like what teams are doing now on the show. Let it be fun for participants.
sure, sure. Yeah, we'll take care of that.
Yeah,
Um,
like I remember World Finals. That was which Umnik's team won. Like there, people, the streamers were sharing the participants' screen, and one time when they said Umnik's screen, the screen literally so had what's the status of the problem, and
hmm,
everyone knew that they had got one more problem and they will be the winner. So
yeah,
on in closing ceremony, they were trying to have some fun, like who let's see who wins and all.
I remember that.
But everyone knew that who is the winner at that time.
Yes, that was interesting. Very interesting.
So like what I can say is we will definitely have some random shuffles over here in top five. And how
Any
would we
guesses who would win?
like any guesses for win? So like these all looks favorite teams to me if I look at top five.
No,
So
no, like
I
just tell one team, not all.
If I have to choose one team, probably I will go for Audit Pass. Like,
It's about you, Evo.
Yeah, I think Audit Pass has a chance if they can just quickly fix their bug in exam requirements. So
Okay. Is Vevo still here, Vevo question?
Gosen, he is on a phone call. So
Okay. I think audit pass would be
like looking at what teams others are submitting. Like, like let me just look at it.
sorry, what did you
Okay,
say?
so what update I can say is there is one team which tried submitting on one of the unsolved problems. They are close to it solving it, but they ensured to make that submission only when for our mark was okay. So,
That's very that's very cryptic. Maybe we can read through the remaining problems if that helps.
yeah, we can just read them.
Hmm. Should we read maximum bitwise or Aryan?
Yeah,
Let's you have any ideas here, just in case. So you have an array with n integers and q queries, and every query has l comma r as some range. And let's say you have some new array of length r minus l plus 1, such that you start from the nth index in the original array and
basically we are given a sub area for each
sub
query.
array of array A. Choose an index j uh, in the sub array and choose an integer I satisfying. You basically find the largest power of 2 that is less than equal to uh, b of j. So for that chosen j, and then you can replace b of j with b of j is or b of j minus 2 power n. So this is one query, and the answer for a query is maximum possible bitwise or of all values in b, and the minimum number of moves required to obtain this value. So you need to print both the maximum possible or value and the minimum moves required to reach that maximum value. So you first need to maximize the possible or, and yeah, then
So
print the
I
rest.
haven't tried solving it, but if I have to go for it, first thing I would like is let's forget about queries. How do one solve it for computer?
Hmm.
And if one finalizes that, then people can even try more. But I believe the solution would be log n per query, something like that. But
Log n.
yeah,
Hmm.
so I'm not aware of the details for it. But yeah, let's wait for the little discussion soon. And what are the other two unsolved problems?
Let's go through the other ones that are pending to be discussed. So I think we have discussed all
We,
of these.
like we haven't discussed the solution for knockout miracle as well. But
Yeah, would you like to discuss that?
yeah, probably. So the main crucial observation over here is if we are looking for team I to win, we should assume that all the other matches are fine and miracle should only happen on team I's matches.
Hmm.
But if one can argue, like in sample, if one looks at it, right, we are saying if three wins in match between one and three, then two can easily win. But what we can do over here is we can let team win the match against one and three, and we can have a miracle in match against two and one. So each attached hand subtree would have a mirror, have a winner if nothing happens over there,
Mhm.
and we want that team to not win it. So either we can have a miracle only on that subtree where it would be playing against I team. We can definitely have miracles down the line as well, but that won't reduce the minimum required because you
Right.
definitely need a miracle in that line,
Right.
right? So and you might need two, three, four miracles in the subtree if you want that.
Mhm.
So that's the idea. Once you have this, then you should write first DFS finding the winner under normal circumstances of for all the subtrees, and then you should run a DFS again, where if you are moving to the right side, you should maintain a data structure pushing the winner of left child in it, and then undo the revert operation again, and then when you move to the left subtree, you should add the winner of right child. And when you are on the list, you should do range query to find how many teams are
Mhm.
stronger than the one we are looking at the list.
And so one question here: can we also use something like order statistics tree on
Yeah,
the game tree and
like
then?
Eureka Forever has done that.
Oh,
Like
okay,
my
nice.
solution uses Convicty, but
I see.
Eureka Forever uses that PVDS data structure order
Mhm.
of key to find the winner. Eureka, no, I believe it was three of a kind.
Three of a kind, I see. Yeah, because you just need to find the rank after doing that pre-processing for the
Right,
subtree.
right.
Okay. Think we can also probably discuss make it zero, because I think very few teams have ended up solving it. So yeah, maybe would you like to go through your ideas for this one as well?
Like, okay. So initially, when like we can share the background story, how development took for it. So
Yeah. So
initially, we just had this problem statement. We did not had any constraints, anything over it. We were discussing around. Then I believe I have seen the similar operation on one of the problems on code process chain as well. I was trying to search it, but I could not find it. So basically, the operations here are not new at least, and we wanted to have one easier problem on the set. And one of the variant we discussed earlier was given that A is a permutation of first and integer. In that case, we can just have log n operations, like all the powers of 2, and we would be done with it.
mm,
And then we were discussing the set with Jatin. He also has some order n square and n cube solutions for it. And he also tested it a bit offline to find the number of states for all the questions. It's definitely solvable for n equal to 500 and something like that. But we wanted to have an easier problem, so first we decided to have n equal to 30 as the constraints over here.
mm,
And for n equal to 30, we can see that if we apply operations in order 6, 8, 4, 2, 1, then there would be at max 6 operations. The idea, one of the, if one does not want to do anything, they can just set 6 for loop in line and apply those operations between 1 to 30. And then on the last day, we just raise it to 42.
yeah.
And there we had one incorrect solution, but we missed out adding a test case sequence.
Mm.
And that's the easy greedy solution which people are making. Like if you look at the bottom teams too, like who are not in top 10, 15, they have an AC on it. And unfortunately, audit pass also got an AC using that incorrect solution as well. But since since it's a full feedback system, it's unfair to add test cases once someone has got an AC on it and converting it to WA. So that's how we are over it.
Got it. Yeah, I think probably their solution is not exactly incorrect, but maybe it could TLE if you can come up with some
Right.
case. So
Okay.
yeah,
So
I'm
yeah,
not sure.
basically the solution in current form is not correct,
Mm,
but they would have definitely fixed it after getting WA or TLE because
mm,
they were definitely close to the idea.
mm.
So
And the next one is let me check. Exam requirements we already talked about. I think no enemy we have talked about. Talk that talk is the name. So
we
I think
cannot talk about,
yeah, I haven't read the
like
problem.
we can just discuss the problem statement, but we have no idea how to.
Right. So uh, the idea is that you have a integer t and a binary string s, and the indexes are labeled from 1 to length of s, and its t value is the number of triple t triplets. So triplet ijk is a triple t triplet if there are three indexes ij and k that are distinct, and the gaps between ij and jk are equal, and all three values s of I, sj, and sk are equal. So that's what we call a triple t triplet. Um, And another important thing here, that how to use t here. So j minus I should lie between 1 and t. So that's the constraint out here. And so
yeah,
now you have received an integer t and a string w of length p minus 1 as a present, where p is some prime. And for all x, you have w of x equals to 1. So basically, for all x between 1 and p minus 1, you have w of x equals to 1. Um, if and only if there exists an integer z such that z square mod p is x. So
basically the
for this,
string s is constructed implicitly using two parameters. Right?
yeah, that's right. So you need to compute the t value for this string w, and the limits are 10 power 6 across all t test cases. So
Like, yeah. So the one update I had was we mentioned one team which did not have any submission on a problem until 4 hours and first made a wrong submission just after 4 hours. Right?
right,
They have got an AC on it, but let's keep it in suspense. What's the inversion which happened in the record?
all right, all right. Yeah, let's see what the final scoreboard would look like. But that's another hint from Aryan about what's happening behind the scenes. And how much time do we have left now? We only
Half
have
an hour.
6 minutes left. Okay.
So like, and it's generally people do get two ACs in last hour. So all the people which have more than 7 have a shot to
Hmm.
win by a problem, and even people with 6 ACs can have if the time penalty is low. Like I am hopeful for Paradigm Shift to make at least 9. And looking at the submissions before,
Yeah, if they can get no enemy, I think that should be useful, because make it 0. I hope they can AC it within time, but we'll have to see if they actually get it. Uh,
okay, so our chief judge is asking us to look at the contest scoreboard and stop the screen so that everyone can enjoy what's happening behind the scenes. Like the rank list is definitely getting interesting. Like one of the team in top 10, one more team in the top 10 just got an AC.
yeah, I've like throughout the stream, I'm just feeling a lot of FOMO because I want to keep looking at submissions.
So
So
let's do one thing. Let's close this. Let's close this stream and let's create one new stream for us panel and do the commentary over there.
yeah, we
So
can
bye,
just keep
folks.
this open, I guess.
Bye,
And
folks. I believe Amritapuri will be live streaming closing ceremony on their Facebook page.
okay,
They do it every year, so
yeah,
we will definitely meet there. And we will,
okay.
and generally they do invite top 10 teams on their stage and announce results over there.
Hmm.
So see you over there.
Yep. Thanks for watching the live stream so far. And we'll see you.
Probably we will also do the same for HRS.
Yeah,
And if there is more engagement, then we can have more people on the stream next year. Okay?
yeah. Let us know what you'd like to see in the next live stream, and
Yeah.
we'll try to execute that.
Like
And
we
thanks,
definitely see a lot of improvements over here, like which can be done with respect to stream. Okay.
yeah, definitely. But I think it's a good start because we haven't done this ever in the past for Indian regionals. So yeah, looking forward to more and better live streams in the future. Cool.
Okay. See you, folks. I guess.